Just another manic Monday.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to today's Rowdy.com Big Three, where we're talking about Jimmie Johnson's big fifth NASCAR Championship, NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship. Unbelievable. I'm Bass Masters. This is Buzz Cutler. What do you want to say? What do you want to talk about? I mean, come on. Five in a row?
I want to talk about Kevin Conway winning the Ray Bestos Rookie of the Year.
Unbelievable.
I mean, who saw that coming?
I didn't. Very impressive. But let's make issue number one Jimmie Johnson and his fifth Cup title.
You
Yeah,
think that?
I think so.
Okay.
Because this is maybe the most impressive achievement in NASCAR history. Certainly it's right up there. No one ever had done 4 before Jimmie. Now, no one obviously has ever done 5 except Jimmie. And I think, to me, and he said it afterwards, this was the toughest one because he had a major challenge from the 11 car, a major challenge from the 29 car, and I think the 11 car in the last 5 weeks had more speed than the 48, had more speed at Phoenix, may have had more speed at Homestead, Miami during the race, although we'll never know because 23 laps in, we had a little poop-haw.
Well, exactly. Jimmie did not have the clear advantage that he has had in years past, and so you might say he had to work a little bit harder for this one than he had for the previous 4, and that's not to belittle the previous 4. But look, Jimmie Johnson's team made mistakes yesterday. They had some lousy pit stops, but their mistakes were not as costly.
And they recovered from them.
As the 11's mistakes were, and they recovered from the
And the 11, in contrast, I think, compounded the initial mistake. Well, you could say the initial mistake was qualifying poorly. I don't personally think that was going to be so bad.
I think the initial mistake was fuel strategy at Phoenix.
Well, I think the initial mistake yesterday was taking it 3 wide. 23 laps in, 3 wide. I don't think that was the right move. I just think ultimately when push came to shove, there were errors in the 11 team's performance that they just simply couldn't recover from. And don't take anything away from the 48. He ran second yesterday.
Yeah,
Denny would have had to run 4th to keep the title without leading a lap.
Right, and Jimmie ran second with a car that was...
That was a 5th place car.
It was a 5th place, maybe a 10th place car.
Maybe an 8th place car.
Dustin Long pointed this out. I thought this was a pretty interesting stat. Since Denny Hamlin has been a full-time Cup driver, the only champion he has known, Jimmie Johnson.
It's like kids, you know. The only president they've ever known, you know, they don't remember the old days. No one's going to remember the old days if this guy keeps winning.
Remember when phones were connected to the wall?
That's so weird.
Right.
I don't get that at all.
Issue number 2. I feel bad for Carl Edwards. His accomplishments have been somewhat overlooked, but hey, the guy won the last 2 races of the season.
And on 2 very different styles of racetracks.
Is he 2011's Denny Hamlin?
I think maybe he is. Because in contrast to earlier this year when they showed a lot of speed at really starting with Chicagoland and they had kind of that nice run leading into the chase and you thought, could he be in the mix? Didn't really have that race winning speed though. But the last 2 races, the 99 car did have race winning speed and closed the deal both times. I mean, he was the fastest car at the end of the day on the last run at Phoenix. He was faster than the 11, fuel mileage strategy or not. Carl Edwards was the best car. He was the best car all day long at Homestead. So you go out to a big, flat, short track, you're the fastest car at the end. You go to a big, fast, downforce racetrack, you're the best car, which is, by the way, is that team's bread and butter. Yes, he should be a factor next year. The guy couldn't win, and now he can't lose.
Look, I like Carl Edwards. He finished 4th in the standings, and I think the 70 races without a win was more of an anomaly. I don't think it's the norm. I don't think it's what we should expect of him down the line, but I think it's a little bit different than Denny Hamlin because I don't think Joe Gibbs Racing was down as a team. I think Denny Hamlin just had to work through some downforce track issues. Roush Fenway is down as a team, and so I'm not sure that you can say Carl Edwards is going to be where Denny Hamlin was at the beginning of this coming season.
I might look at it the reverse way, though, because I think, you know, the downforce tracks have always been the Roush Fenway strong suit. So if you look at Carl Edwards now getting the speed back in that race car on downforce tracks, which really are the key to winning a championship still, the way the chase is set up, I think maybe that bodes very well for Carl Edwards next year. And also, going through a 70-race winless streak, still figuring out how to make the playoffs and get yourself in position to earn points. Those are skills, I think, that will come in very handy, and they'll be very valuable for him if he really wants to contend for a championship because, yes, you earn your championship on your big days, but you also earn them on the days when, you know, your 15th place car finishes 6th.
The other thing I'll say about this is we didn't see Kevin Harvick's season coming. We didn't see it hinted at in 2009.
Maybe in the last couple races.
Maybe he was getting stronger. So there is somebody out there who's going to be contending in 2011 that has not yet hinted at it in 2010.
It's about lessons. You know, it's about learning your lessons. Like Denny Hamlin learned some lessons last year, which he applied pretty well this year. Probably learned some lessons in the last 2 races he's going to have to apply next year. What
Right.
about a Juan Montoya? Did he learn some lessons this year about pushing
I
it,
don't know,
about-
man. He seems pretty hard-headed.
He does seem hard-headed, but you know what? He altered his strategy the year before last and made the chase. He tried to push it a little more this year. Had a lot, probably more speed in his race car.
What about Jamie McMurray?
What about Jamie
Will we see
McMurray
him run his...
earning those points
Right.
on the days when he's not so great?
All right, let's move on to issue number 3. And we talked around this a little bit in issue number 1. Did Jimmie Johnson go out and earn this championship, or did Denny Hamlin give it to him? I think what happened...
I say earn, ultimately.
In my opinion, what happened is the number 11 team opened the door for Jimmie at Phoenix. They opened it a little bit more wide at Homestead, Miami, and Jimmie said, well, okay, if you're going to open the door for me, I'm going to walk right through it. So I think it was a combination of the two. I don't mean to take anything away from Jimmie Johnson's accomplishment, but the door was opened by the 11 team.
No doubt. I mean, I think you look at Phoenix, for example. They had one opportunity there to make up points on Denny, on this fuel strategy. They saw it, they took advantage of it, and then they executed that decision. Okay, so that was Jimmie Johnson going out and taking something. Yes, obviously the opportunity was given to them. If Denny Hamlin, if it hadn't turned out to be a fuel mileage racer, if Denny had perhaps had a better fuel strategy, you know, they wouldn't have been able to make those points up. But they had that one chance. They had to run 89 laps on a tank of gas there. Team not known for fuel mileage strategy victories, and they got it done. Here at Homestead, you know, they finished second. So even with a good race car, Denny Hamlin was going to have to go from 37th to 5th or 4th to beat Jimmie Johnson for this championship. Probably had the speed to do it early in the race. Probably had the speed in the race car to do it.
Mistake after mistake.
And if he hadn't made the
mistake
with Greg Biffle, there were other possible things he would have had to overcome too. So I think that Jimmie Johnson did definitely earn this title, had more of a challenge this year than he's ever had before. Yes, there were some things the 11 could have executed better. But, I mean, that's the way it always is. The guy who loses didn't do as good of a job as the guy who wins, and that was the case if you look at the last 2 races this year. The last 2 races this year for Jimmie Johnson, 5th and then 2nd. Top 5s overall in this chase, 7 of them for Jimmie Johnson.
Which was 2 more than Kevin Harvick. And Kevin Harvick didn't win a single race during the chase.
That's correct.
Yes, Kevin
Jimmie earned it.
Kevin Harvick had a 5.8 finishing average in the chase, but that's simply not
Or should
enough.
I hold up a Post-it note that says, Jimmie's team earned it?
Yes, you could do that.
You got a Post-it note?
Yes, but it has something written on it.
Jimmie's team earned it. That's what that Post-it note says. His team earned it. That has been your Rowdy.com Big 3 for today. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about more stuff.
Gobble, gobble.
Yeah, Turkey Days are coming. Turkey Days are coming. Join us at Rowdy.com. Weigh in with your thoughts, and we'll see you next time right here on the program.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.